It's just a little village, a dot on a map.
Nothing here to see or make you stop your car.
But if you look back far enough,
We're all connected somehow to little places like this. Our ancestors came,
broke ground,
built a community,
and put down the roots that would sustain generation after generation,
and we're all searching
even now,
for the stories
that connect us back home.
No, this stone is a gravel road, all the way from number 3 right down to the end. Canfield was a pretty active town.
The community was, I think, one of the greatest places for a child to grow up.
I'm Bill Douglas. I grew up here in Canfield. My nickname was Bones, and I lived here practically all my life.
Billy Douglas. I always called him Chicken Noodle Soup. I don't know why. We called him, every time I see him, I say, "Hi, Chicken Noodle, how you doing?"
Nighttime, it was the older boys. We played football on the middle of the highway, and I used to play with them.
We used to call Billy Douglas Vic Washington, who was a great black football player.
And I come home, and my mom said, "Where you been?" I said, "Well, we're playing football in the middle of the highway with the boys." And she flipped a bird, so to speak. And we lived with our grandparents for 7 years of my life, or 8 years of my life, and then we moved, and then stayed in Canfield till about 1998 when we moved to Dunville. My nieces and nephews should know about this. I think it's great for the community, for the rest of the world to know. A small village like Canfield had a rich history of black ancestry.
I don't think Bill knew anything about the freedom seekers, part of his family. Sit down, I have some things. My name is Sylvia Weaver. I'm a historian. I married Dawn Weaver, and we have 3 children. Bill, as you know, I've always been interested in the history of Canfield. I want to know about your family now. What was your mother's name?
My mother's full name was Mary Ruby Annabelle Keziah Douglas. Lee, yeah.
How'd you get that name?
Mary was after an aunt.
Yeah.
And Ruby was after a very dear friend of my mother's.
Mm-hmm.
Anna was my grandmother's name. Belle was a cousin that my mother was very fond of. Keziah was after my mother's sister.
She was named after almost every one of her mother's sisters and her aunts.
All right, this is my great-great-grandma Williams.
Hi, my name is Betty Ann Newman. I used to be Betty Ann Douglas of Canfield, a descendant of the Williamses, the Morrises, the Douglases. My mother was Ruby Douglas, and she used to be Ruby Lee.
My mom was a nurse. My mom looked after elderly people.
She didn't go very far in school, and I think she went as far as grade 8, but then she went to Hamilton and started working.
She worked in Detroit. She sang with the Ink Spots for a little bit.
They were a very popular Negro quartet. She was a great singer. She loved to sing, so she worked in Hamilton for a very long time, and that's where she met my dad.
What was your father's name?
My father's name was Fred Douglas. Now, I don't know what his middle name was, but his name was Fred Douglas, and the last name was spelt with 2 S's.
I know nothing about my father's background.
When they got divorced, he moved out west and started another family. I didn't really know my father that well. So.
He left her and us right after we were born.